All right, all right, all right. We're about to go in just a few moments. I'm gonna just send out a few of these links, and we definitely have a lot to talk about on this show. So um, sit tight, and I will be right back. Okay, hopefully it wasn't gone too long, but we're gonna go ahead and start off the show properly. So we are about to go live, like really live, in about a few moments. Just give me a little bit of time here. Here we go. All right, let's drop it. All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's another week, another episode of What the Fuck Just Happened. Your host, DJ81, on Twitch and actually on Twitch, known as EVO325. I'll post all that up later. Uh, like I said, another Wednesday, another episode. So this is episode 23. This is going to be an interesting episode, I believe, because we did have some stuff occur, had some stuff to talk about, had some tea to sip, because there's some stuff I want to get out the way. But before I get to that, let's actually get down to business of the admin, the unfortunate aspect of, hey, what's up, yo? I see Young Noble already here. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. I don't know if you were there last week, but it's good that you're here. So thank you. So let's get to the business of the admin, which is always the tedious part of the show. Hopefully all the audio is sounding good. Hey, what's up, Subliminary? I see you. Good day, good day. I know, yeah, I saw the reply. Yeah, you're going to be included in what I have to talk about in the introduction. Just stay put. All right, so let's get this admin out the way. I definitely need to get this admin out the way. All right, so for those of you that are not familiar with who I am DJ81. I know we're in season 3 and I have a core audience, but at the same time, there are people probably tuning in for first time that don't know who the fuck I am. And even the people that are still here probably asking me, who the fuck are you? But here we are. So if you're on Twitch and you want to find me, you can find me. Just look up EVO325, as I mentioned before. And for those primarily using YouTube, which is where my base is, you can find me there under DJ81. You can find me on Twitter, again, DJ81. Notice that I'm actually sounding these out. Well, there's a reason. We'll get to that shortly. So, and if you want to view any of my articles that I have up, you can go to my blog site at www.dj81.org. You can go there. You can check out some of the articles. I don't have anything recent. You can also find the playlist, the video playlist that I'll send you to YouTube for these episodes. Episodes 1 through 22 currently. When 23 is done, that will be part of the playlist. And it's also going to go up in other places. If you guys haven't already tuned in, one of those places is SoundCloud. So just recently, I got my stuff up on SoundCloud. That's the link. And that should direct you to a playlist. That's, well, I'm not going to be able to read that. No one's going to be listening to this part. And then also, I'm on Spotify now. So what the fuck just happened, or WTF just happened, is now on Spotify. So for your listening pleasure, audio only experience on SoundCloud and Spotify, you can find me. I'm now available there. Unfortunately, starting with season 3. So that's how that works. So now you can also find me as a featured panelist on the show First and Frame Rates. That's ran by VF, myself. Bills is on vacation. We talk about sports and sports video gaming. We go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're uncensored, we're unbothered, untethered. And someone got checked yesterday, or actually on Tuesday, for those that, if you're listening to this come Thursday or whatever, somebody got checked. 2 people got checked on Tuesday. So I urge you guys to go check out that episode. It was pretty funny. So, and then obviously, if you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to, that's always going to be available. So let me go to the chat. Young Noble, I don't know who you are. I know, right? I'm like, look, I'm just a little guy making their way in the universe, not trying to be harassed, not trying to be, hassled and stuff like that. It's just one of those things where, people are not going to know who I am, and I expect that, and that's cool. I actually like the small atmosphere a little bit. A lot of people may not understand that, but we see right now going on with these big YouTubers, these big Twitch streamers, these people who used to be on whatever that site was that Microsoft canned, and they're probably going to pick up another site, or I think they did pick up another site. Oh yeah, they picked up Discord. So you see what's going on. You see the trolls they run into. They have all types of issues in regards to that. But let's talk about the tea that and Hope Preliminary is still here. Yeah, that's right. Little guys. Okay, I'm going to stop. You almost got me. You almost got me with that. That's how VF got caught yesterday. Nah, almost got me with that one, Young Noble. You should be arrested for that, but you've done that before. So here we go. Take that weak ass hat off. Good. What's good, brother? Yeah, everything's good over here. Does your team have one of these hats that you don't have to dust off? Just asking. Just asking. I'm like, Scott OG doesn't have. I'm not going to say that about Scott OG. First of all, his team swept my team, and we just beat the Cardinals in this recent series, so we're good there. All right, so a couple lemonades here. All right, so and the reason why I'm saying preliminary, because you are in the area, and I would think you probably have ran into this podcast. This is another podcast that I'm going to promote, because one of the people that's on that podcast, and you probably saw the thread, had something to say about the post I put out. Now let's go to that post. Let me just bring it up real quick. And let me make sure I have it, because I don't want to lose track of it. Thank you, VF, for the shout out. I see him. He's probably watching on Twitch. Pooh's probably lurking as usual. Pooh, by the way, I would urge you to check out these videos on YouTube with people walking the streets of Philly, raw footage of just nothing but trash. Kind of reminds me of your team, the Eagles. So definitely, I urge you urge anyone to check that out. It is real raw footage, and it's kind of what I figured. I remember I took a trip to Philadelphia, and the bus station that I got off at, I got a taste of what Philly is like, and basically it was that in that video. So definitely urge it. So let's get to the tea, because I want to shout out a podcast that's I would say they definitely bring the local flavor when it comes to sports. They are called the Sports Reality Podcast. The host, his name is Jeremy Johns, and his co-host, his current co-host, because when I read the description, his previous co-host, I don't think it's there right now. I don't know if he's out or whatever, but he currently, the current co-host is a guy by the name of Thad Patrice. Now, me and Thad go way back to Frostburg, back in '98. We, along with a friend, a classmate of his and a classmate of mine, formed the Four Horsemen. So that kind of gives you like a base of why VF, myself, and Bills are NWO for life. Kind of bridge that connection there. So that's how we all, like, we had this love of wrestling. We all hit it off the first day we actually ran into each other, because myself and my classmate, we were up there for football. And I forgot what they were up there for. I think band or something like that. I know being grads of DeMatha, I would think that they would be something, of high intelligence or high snootiness or whatever, DeMatha is accused of whenever, they just play other private schools. It's not like they venture out and play public schools, because they wouldn't want. I tell you right now, and this may be heresy in their area, but DeMatha in the 90s did a good thing by avoiding Wild Lake in the 90s, because I'm telling you right now, on that football field, DeMatha was going to catch all types of hell playing Wild Lake. So I'm going to just leave it at that. But, okay, so why am I bringing up this podcast? And why am I bringing up that in particular? And I already gave you like a background, how we met and stuff like that. He's a really good dude. And this is all in fun and jokes and whatnot. So, man, wasn't ready for Oxon Hill. Well, somebody should have told Oxon Hill to get up. Were they 4A or 3A back in the 90s? At least 97, 96, 97. If they weren't 3A, then they could shut the fuck up. So, as far as I'm concerned. But it is true, DeMatha does create stars. So, there's no doubt there. Yeah, definitely. Fug them Eagles. Yes, exactly. That's what they are, nothing but trash, and they are to be treated as such. So let's go to the tweets at hand. And shout out to State of Franchise Sports. I see that he just posted on Twitter to spread the news about my show. Thank you, much appreciated. So yes, I am keeping tabs on everything for right now, because I definitely want to make this a long-running, episodic, seasonal show. All right, so let's go to the thread in question. And obviously, I'm going to just read some of the stuff that was on here, because this was probably the funniest 30 minutes I've ever been a part of. So I have a tweet. This was posted yesterday at 4:23 in the afternoon, and it reads, and let me actually put this post out, because sometimes I don't want to really miss anybody's comments that pop up. There we go. There's State of Franchise Sports. Thank you. Hey, what's up, man? All right, so I posted at that time on yesterday on my Android phone, go Android, Team Android. I may receive some hate from this, but a little known fact about me is that I favor Baltimore club music over go-go. I know It is what it is, and I said what I said. Can't wait to view the Netflix special coming up. So I'm aware that there's a Netflix special coming up featuring Baltimore, and the art behind club music is one of the local music flavors in it. And I grew up here in Howard County. I was born in DC. Just setting it up for what came up in the thread later. So I would spend nights at about 9 o'clock with the regular cassette tapes, and I wish I had one here because I actually still have some of the cassette tapes. I probably posted them when I got that cassette player, but I would record the club songs, pretty much on the dot, and it was hard to mix them because you had to know when to pause, when to stop, when to record, do all these things. I had made my own mixtapes out of it. So, and I found myself favoring that. Now, let's go to the responses. And I'm going to start, let's see, with Thad, because that's why I brought him up. So his response, his reply was, you are from Howard County. You are closer to Baltimore than DC. Y'all not considered part of the DMV. That's acceptable. I didn't find that acceptable. So my response to him was, sir, Howard County may be closer to Baltimore, but Howard County is not B-more, so we are part of the DMV. Now I'm just laughing, emojis and stuff like that, just laugh my ass off. His response to that was, nope, no, sir. Us folks surrounding DC have never considered Howard County part of the DMV. Just because y'all have Laurel doesn't count. Laurel there doesn't count, sir. I read that. I was like, the hell? Nobody talks about Howard County not being about part of the DMV. So I was thinking to myself, this dude made this up on the fly. He just wanted to, and he admits he likes to get involved in some messy stuff. So this is messy. So my response to him was, nope. I refuse to accept this, as it was always B-more County and city that were not considered part of the DMV. Y'all might as well consider Montgomery and Anne Arundel not part of the DMV either. And for the record, my birthplace is DC. So who is y'all you speak of? So I don't know if you remember, but I was born in Southeast DC. So you don't make the, just like Kevin Durant, you don't make the DC come out of me. So, and then his response to that was, oh, for sure, Anne Arundel, not the DMV, not part. He meant not part of the DMV, which I was just like, wow, they actually have a ton of Washington fans in Anne Arundel County. I'm sure they would not find that nice, but Montgomery goes to the line. Don't go disrespecting Tacoma Park, Silver Spring, and Bethesda like that. For those in the video gaming world, that's where the studio is located. So Microsoft has a foothold in PG County and what? No, Bethesda's PG, Montgomery, whatever. I really don't care about Bethesda anyway. So they can get all the disrespect as far as I'm concerned. It was like, shoot, we don't even consider Bowie. That's where I drew the line. I was like, hell no. This man said we don't even, who in the hell is we? We don't even consider Bowie part of PG County? They might as well be they might as well be a part of Anne Arundel County. I was done after that. And my response, and hold up. Let me see if I can share this. Let me share this because I want to show you guys the look on my face and what I did. Let me see. Let me make sure I got this right. Make sure I got the right window so y'all can see what this was my response. So that's the look on my face after that tweet, after that reply. So I definitely wanted to make sure you guys knew that was the look on my face. I was laughing, But that was the look on my face. And of course he laughed after that as well. So yeah. So that was his the sports reality show actually went live earlier this evening. I showed up. I pulled up. And I called this man the gatekeeper of the DMV. And now he has that title because he wants to say that Howard. Oh no. That wasn't it. Wait a minute. I forgot. I forgot the part that had me pull up. This dude, this Negro, had the audacity, the mitigated, what do they call it? Unmitigated gall to say, but I'll allow you being part of the DMV. Nigga, who the are you? To tell me you will allow me to be a part of the DMV. When I was born in Southeast DC, sir. You see this hat? Are you wearing this hat? No. Are you a Cavs fan? Probably not. Oh, you just follow the Wizards. That's it. They haven't won a championship since before both of us even born. 1979. I remember that. They beat the Seattle Supersonics. Don't even exist no more. Then they got beat by Seattle the following year, or whichever it was. Either way, it was before I was born. But you're going to tell me I'm going to allow you to be a part of DMV? That's what brought upon the Kevin Durant phase. So that's what caused me to pull up to the sports reality podcast, which went live, I think, at 6 earlier this evening. So I called his ass the gatekeeper of the DMV. And yeah, you earned that title after saying that. They're going to tell me I'm going to allow you to be a part of the DMV. Nah, this hat, that jersey, my bloodline says I'm a part of the DMV. Fuck out of here. Gatekeeping ass, the math, a grad ass, having overgrown son of a. But hopefully, I don't think he probably asleep because bears need to hibernate. So he probably not even watching. But anyway, he's a good dude. They have a good show. If you definitely, and this is why I asked Subliminary if he was sticking around. So they definitely do talk about the local flavor in sports. So they're very knowledgeable on that. So, shout out to them, shout out to their show. I'm not exactly good on the timing when their show, it just, whenever it pops up, I tune in and I say a couple of funny things. And then usually I just ghost after that. So definitely I urge everybody to check them out. You can follow them on Twitter at @sports_reality on Twitter. So definitely check them out. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I think they multi-stream, because I noticed that they do show some of the replies, and I noticed that they do respond to other audience members on, believe Facebook. I don't know if they broadcast when they go live, if they go someplace else, but yeah, this was supposed to be just an intro. This is the longest intro I've ever done, but I had to get this story out because this is funny as shit. Don't tell me it. I will allow you. The math is all of a sudden the gatekeepers of the DMV all of a sudden. I challenge this dude to point out where James McHenry Elementary School is on a Google map without looking for it. I challenge him. That's the school I went to. I went to Highbridge Elementary, which was in Bowie. I was in a nursery school in northwest portion of DC. My grandmother on this side of the family, on my father's side of the family, ran a funeral home until she passed away in DC. My mother and family are in Southeast DC as we speak. Wherever I go, the DMV follows. So even if I had to stick up for Baltimore and dare I say call them part of the DMV because you want to gatekeep, then that's but it's got to be. But you brought this upon yourself, brother. So, but yeah, go check them out. They're really, really knowledgeable, really good. I know Thad would like to participate in the messiness that this may bring about, but this is all in fun. So, and it's all about merging worlds, because I think it'd be great to have them on first and frame rates, and we can also join them. And a kumbaya session. Try to spread our wings a little bit. They spread their wings. And we'll just see what happens. But shout out to them. So let's get to the meat and potatoes and ask the question that I always ask when the show starts. Obviously, we're 25 minutes in, so the show been started, but we're gonna ask that question now. Why am I here? Why are we here? What are we here for? Right? What are we doing here? So we're gonna talk about, and I think the first subject will be short, because everyone's familiar with State of Decay 2, but with a twist. Now, this game already released a few years ago, but they are looking to do an open beta with the current game. And kind of, I wouldn't say put it in an early access type of situation. I'm going to just drop that. Not really put it in an early access type situation, but let me see. Where can I catch a live stream at it? What riots? I don't know what this dude is talking about. Where can I catch a live stream at a riot? What do you say? I ask myself every day I go to work. That is, we all ask that question. Why am I doing this? Why are we doing this? But yeah, so State of Decay 2 kind of reverting back to an early access type format with this open beta. They want to try out new features, and they want to, run them by the community, get community feedback in an open format, so people can stream, people can, tweet about it. So instead of doing internal testing, which is pretty much the standard post-launch, opening it up to the community and test features before they release them out. So I think that's a good idea. I think, and it also should prepare them for State of Decay 3 whenever that comes out. So that's a Microsoft exclusive as far as being on Xbox and being on PC. It's also available on Steam. So, and it's funny, but here's the caveat to that. The open beta is only available through Steam. So if you haven't bought the game, let me see if it's still on sale. Let me pull it up. It should be still. Let me just make sure. It up. As of right now, State of Decay, and it's funny, I just took advantage of it. It's back to $30, but I did take advantage of a sale before it went off the sale. So it's $30, but the open beta version of the game, it's not, and they haven't done it yet. They'll do it soon. They're about to do it soon, but that will be just a Steam only format. So that's really was it about State of Decay 2. But I think the thing, we're just going to take a serious tone here for a moment, because we are definitely, and in a way, I know I posted Boss Man's chat about the, asking where they're shooting the riots, and I didn't mean to make light of how my reaction was acting light to what you had said, but there are riots. There's peaceful protests going on in Minnesota right now, but at the same time, there's riots happening at night. It's like when the night falls, sun goes down, night falls, everything that was peaceful turns violent. It kind of reminds you of Castlevania 2. For those who are not familiar, Castlevania 2, during the day, everything's peaceful. The monsters are weaker when you go out into the woods. But once night falls, all the zombies pop out, even in the towns that normally house the people. So, and it's centered around Daunte Wright. Daunte Wright is the young man, African-American gentleman, who was pulled over by Minnesota police of the Brooklyn Center Department. Pretty much the same location, not same location, but same proximity as far as police department as in regards to George Floyd. This traffic stop escalated the moment Daunte Wright went to flee after he was told there were warrants out of his arrest, which naturally, when you're told you have a warrant, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to say this, depending upon what race you are, you enter a fight or flight response. You get a little nervous. And as an African-American, you get more nervous, you get more flighty because of it. Because we know how this goes. We know what goes down. We know how this is going to end up. So when they're trying to handcuff him, he tries to get away. He struggles a little bit with the officer, and he jumps in the car. Now, the officer in question, because and I'll levy the charges after I say this. The officer in question is Kim Potter. She's the one wearing the body camera that you see the view from. This was released yesterday, I believe. This was released yesterday by the police chief, or now former police chief, Tim Gannon, during his presser, in which you see her point of view. You see her race to the left of her partner, and she takes whatever is in her right hand and switches it to her left and pulls her gun out. But for some reason, yells, "Taser, taser, taser," and shoots it. One round goes into Daunte Wright. Now he doesn't die immediately, but eventually he's pronounced dead. He drives off. He's able to drive off, but he eventually dies. So the way the situation, and then at the aftermath, her partner's looking at her like, "You shot him? How? Like, I thought you had the taser," because clearly he has no view of what his partner just did. And I'm trying to figure out if he even heard it, because that thing had audio and you can clearly hear her say "taser, taser, taser," but she had her lethal in front of her. She had her gun on her. And Tim Gannon, he was being transparent. I give him credit, but he definitely did throw her under the bus, and rightfully so, because come to find out, Kim Potter's been a part of the force for 26 years. And to make a mistake like this is inexcusable. So he reveals that the police officers wear their lethal on their dominant side. So if they're right-handed, their lethal's on their dominant side, their right side. If they're left-handed, then their lethal's on their left-hand side. It kind of goes with the ready stance. I'm not a trained gunman, don't profess to be, but I would figure if you're dominant to the left, you're going to be standing a certain way. Dominant to the right, you're going to be standing another way. And she and her partner appear to be right-handed. So what really bothers me about watching, and obviously I'm not going to show the video, what really bothers me about watching the footage is that she has whatever is in her hand. Maybe it's Daunte's license, it's whatever. She switches it to her left hand. In her mind, she wants to pull out the taser. So that's why I agree with the fact that Tim, the former police chief, said it was accidental shooting. From watching the footage, not from what he said, from watching the footage and understanding the events and what was said by her and what happened. She wasn't trying to kill him. They were literally trying to detain this dude. There's some sensitivity here because of the fact that it's African American male. There's obviously rush to be like, oh, another black man was killed unarmed, not doing anything wrong, because there's even questions about why he was even pulled over. Apparently, he was pulled over because air freshener was blocking the rearview mirror, which apparently in Minnesota you could be pulled over for. I think it's kind of petty. I understand the safety aspect of it. I'm trying to look at it from all sides here. I'm not trying to, be all in one way. I'm trying to apply logic and common sense to my reaction to this. I can see the safety implications to it. I'm like, you have your driver's side mirror, you have your passenger side mirror, and you have a rear view. But most places have a backup cam. So if you're going backwards, you're going to have that activate. But your rear view, really, that's kind of petty to pull somebody over that. And then they found out he had warrants. So it was just like a petty traffic stop turns into something more because all of a sudden, and then I think even the warrants are even questionable. They said at first they mentioned felony warrant, but it winds up that it was a misdemeanor, unpaid tickets. So we had a petty reason for being pulled over, a petty warrant to even mention while already in a tense situation. Now, her partner is Kim's Potter's partner is African American. You find that out as, hey, what's up, Antonio? I see you. So you find out, you see that her partner is African American. He's kind of looking at her like, what the hell? What was that? You shot him? Like, why? How? I thought you had the taser. And there's a clear difference between the taser and the gun. But as far as the warrant for his arrest, I think she brings it up because she's the one that had his information and found out from that. She went back to her squad car, looked his information up, found out there was a warrant. It hit for a warrant, and boom. But she blurts it out like it's nothing. Like, that's not going to cause somebody to be a little bit more antsy, especially being African American. Like that didn't come to mind. I'm like, VF and I, we talked about this after the show last night, and one of the things he brought up was the fact that most females in the police force, not all, but most females are usually brought in if it's like a male on male situation, are brought in to specifically de-escalate the situation because of natural tendencies. Now, not every female is capable of de-escalating the situation, but she definitely was not thinking about de-escalation and just being reckless with announcing to Daunte that he had felony warrants just out in the open, like, oh, you got a felony warrant for your arrest, like just willy-nilly. And then 2, not realizing that you had your pistol, not your taser, which that's a big fucking miss. I'm sitting there, and this wasn't like bang bang. Pardon the dumbass pun, but it wasn't like bang bang. That happened. She said taser several times. And I'm looking at this in real time. This is not slowed down footage or anything. She had the gun, she had her pistol out in front of her the whole entire time. She was yelling, taser, taser, taser. And her eyes did not pick up on the fact, which is still hard to believe to this day, that she had a gun in her hand and not the taser. And there's a clear difference between the two. Everyone's seen it, so I don't need to post the difference between the two. And plus, I think our listeners on Spotify and SoundCloud they know, they understand the difference. I'm like, if I want to paint a picture, the taser is in some departments it's either I think an orange or a yellow, and in this case it was a yellow. It was dominated in yellow with outlined in black as far as like where the handle, the black part is where the handle, and I think there's the some other portion of it, but it's most the edge, the barrel is like a weird rectangular shape, and it's in yellow, clearly marked that it's a taser. Regular pistol, all black. So yeah, just even if you were colorblind, you could tell the difference. So that's a big fucking miss. So now, since this has happened, there have been protests. There have been violent protests that stem from the peaceful protests because this people are angry. People have, and they have a right to be angry. I don't agree with looting. I don't agree with rioting, but that's not the main reason. That's not the main thing going on here. The main thing that's going on is that people are upset. People are out there protesting because didn't we do this shit last year in the same spot? Not like literally in the same spot, but we did this shit last year. And we keep doing this every single year. Breonna Taylor was what? Earlier last year, but also it happens every year. And that's where folks have reached a point where it happens every single time. We're in this like loop where if anybody's familiar with Star Trek, and it was Star Trek The Next Generation. It was an episode where the ship kept blowing up at the end, but it would go back to the beginning, and there were 4 crew members. It was Riker, Beverly, Data, and Worf, and LeVar Burton's character, LaForge. They were all working together to finally figure out and get themselves out of this time continual loop that they were in. They eventually get it, but throughout the episode, the ship blows up like several times. You hear Picard like, "Oh, let a bit of ship, oh, let a bit," and then you hear the toy ship blows up because they had practical effects back in the day in the 90s. But yeah, you would have that. Okay, I see you, Pooh. So you're not lurking as much as you said you were, as I thought you were. So, but yeah, that would happen. But I feel like we're in this continual loop of this happening over and over and over and over. And each time there's something different that happens that, leads to a possible answer and somewhat. But at the end of the day, the ship continues to blow up. We still have rioting, we still have looting stemming from these peaceful protests because the issue is not being resolved. I'm like, that's pretty much what's going on every time. Like the core issue is not really addressed. The disparaging interactions on traffic stops, just on traffic stops alone. Just to relate this traffic stop to another traffic stop, actually more local here in Virginia, U.S. Army medic Karan Nazario. He's a second lieutenant. He's a U.S. Army medic. Thank you for serving, by the way. Also a brother in arms. So he was pulled over by 2 officers that approached him by gunpoint. I'm like, why are we approaching us at gunpoint? And he was pulled over because his temporary tags, he had just bought the SUV that he was in. And that's another thing I'm also bring up too. That's a nice looking SUV. Daunte had a nice looking car. It seems like there's been an ongoing pattern when you see a black man in a nice car, and we've seen movies that depicts this. But they approach him at gunpoint. He has his hands up. He's not resisting or anything of that nature. and they pepper sprayed this dude. They pulled him over because his temporary tags weren't in the correct location. They weren't on the bumper, but they were being displayed in the window. For some reason, maybe he wasn't able to display it. Maybe they just put that when he bought. I don't know if he just recently bought the vehicle, but the fact is, oh, and here's another thing. They wanted to pull him over earlier in a stretch of area that wasn't deemed he felt wasn't safe. And you're in the Army, you automatically know you're not just going to pull over anywhere. You're going to put, and he pulled over into a gas station. So the cops were already irritated because they didn't get him to stop when they wanted him to stop. So I don't know. So VF also pointed out that, you do have people on these on the force that when they got the job and when they got the power of the badge and the gun, that most of these folks that are like this are people that were bullied, that were powerless growing up. So now that they have this power, and chief example is Donald Trump. He was a bitch when he was growing up, and he's a bitch now. He'll forever be a bitch. So he will, when he became president, everything he did was vindictive in nature. You can tell he was bitch made. Everything he did was vindictive. It was all about getting revenge on somebody. He had to get revenge. It's all about, sticking up for myself. I'm like, now that you had all this power, but you see what's going on now. He has no power. He can't do anything. I'm like, he may be saying stuff, but ain't nobody hear him. If a tree falls in the middle of a forest, does anybody really hear it or care to hear it if they even stand next to it? But the pattern that I was talking about, and this is actually, I can personally attest to this. So one of the nervous things about buying a new vehicle is the fact that, yeah, you do have the temporary tags and stuff like that. But being African-American buying a new vehicle, I once had a cop, like as I'm driving off the lot, staring me down. This was on Route 40, Ellicott City. So I believe I had crossed into the Baltimore County side. I was driving back to Howard County. This was 2008 when this occurred. But yeah, driving off the lot and having a cop he was driving, he was going the complete opposite direction. Stop. The moment I started to pull off the lot, I had this shiny jet black Hyundai Elantra. Now, first of all, it's a Hyundai Elantra. It's a nice car, but back then it was just starting to look nice. But it was jet black. I called it the Black Pearl. That was the name of the car. And that cop stopped and watched me cross over 40 to get to 40 South so I can get the hell back home, and did not move until I left the area. That was kind of weird. And of course, I was in the military, so when weird shit happens, and Bills, the reason why I'm disregarding the chat because I'm in the serious part. So I will get to the chat in a moment. Be cool. But anyway, so what is it? So yeah, my training in the military has me keen to stuff that is weird looking and patterns that form. And that cop stopped and watched me drive off. So I thought that was kind of weird. So the pattern here, Lieutenant Nazario had a nice SUV. Daunte Wright had a nice little car there. I'm like, it's a very nice car, very nice. So the old pattern still remains. We can't be black and drive a nice vehicle without being harassed, pulled over for something petty, and then eventually wind up dead. The chances of it are highly likely, because I know the main thing that opposition usually says is that more people of that are not black or not whatever, more tend to get pulled over, more tend to wind up being shot and whatnot. I'm like, there's more of you here. So we're not going to outnumber those stats. It's just the chances of it are higher when it's us, because there's a natural fear of us for many reasons. And that's just how it's been going. So, though, just back to the Minnesota situation with Daunte Wright dying in the hands of Kim Porter, she resigned, or she attempted to resign, and the chief Tim Gannon attempted to resign, and I believe their resignations were rejected by the mayor of Brooklyn Center. So the charge that Kim Porter was given was second degree manslaughter, which may not be a popular opinion, but I agree with the charge. It's an accidental shooting. And I know people are not going to like to hear that, but from what I saw and how I interpreted, that was an accidental shooting. She meant to tase him, and she shot him with her gun. That was purely a mistake, a very big fucking mistake. So you do need to receive the consequences from those actions. Like Daunte Stallworth had manslaughter charges from his auto accident that resulted in a man's death. I'm like, that's the appropriate charge. So second degree manslaughter, I feel, is the appropriate charge here. You're not going to get first degree murder. You're not going to get second degree murder. This is purely manslaughter. I'm like, really, none of us knows what's going on in her head, but we know there was a conflict in what she was thinking versus what she actually did. So I agree with the whole manslaughter charges on that. So, all right. So let me get to the chat, since someone wants to complain that I'm ignoring the chat. And I admit I did ignore the chat because I am trying to get something out. Felt it was important. So, all right. So let me see what you guys were talking about in the chat. So, Pooh's talking about his dumbass Sixers. Apparently they're playing the Nets. Not interested. So, and then Bills, he just got home about some time ago. See Pooh talking about it's a shame Embiid won't get MVP because of injury, but dude has played at a solid level. I agree. I think Embiid has played well enough, but I wouldn't say MVP. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, and this was the complaint right here. So, yeah, Bills was like, this nigga DJ disregards the chat for minutes at a time. LOL, shaking my head. Well, you know what? Sometimes it has to be like that. It's almost like if I go to the chat, I'm interrupting myself. And we know how much we hate to be interrupted. So, okay, so Young Noble is saying cops are bitches, bro. Cops can be bitch made, but I'm like, my experience dealing with police officers is a fairly positive one. And I feel like the call is upon the good ones. There's more good ones than bad ones. My call is for the good ones to not hide behind the blue wall of silence and, root out the bad ones, get rid of the bad ones. They have to find the way to get the bad ones out of there. That's plain to hear. Bills complaining about nobody complained about anything. This man, like, whatever. Said he made an observation and called it out. All right. So, and then he says, been nice not having that happen last 3 weeks. I think one of my faults is when I go too far ahead of when somebody commented, is when I'll probably lose track of why. And maybe, Bills can help me out with why he said that. Noble's always talking about they shoot everybody in Chicago. Were you a witness? You snitching on everybody? You know, everybody got guns in there because the government secretly drops like a package, a care package in there. You know, first it was drugs, now it's guns. That's the way it works. That's the way the government always works. Make it look like it's just us, and it's been them the whole entire time. So as far as with the U.S. Army medic situation is concerned, the one in Virginia, that where's the fucking professional courtesy? As someone, that situation really is gonna confuse and blow the minds of the Blue Lives Matter crowd, because of the whole, they feel again that Colin Kaepernick, in kneeling for the national anthem in protest, disrespects the military. Well, what happens when Blue Lives Matter disrespects the military? Now what are you gonna do? It's a tough year for that crowd. You know, Trump's people attacked the police. Where was their Blue Lives Matter loyalty then? You know, got a couple of cops that disrespect the military. Oh, we're not saying anything now. Seem like, and these are, and most of these people that are backing Blue Lives Matter were Trump folks. And these folks are just, they're trying to hide because they're wanted by the government, all 300 something of them. You know, they out here killing cops, hurting cops, stealing. You know, you want to talk about violent protest? Do you see any of us looting the Capitol? Man, this whatever. This whole thing about, okay, well, they shouldn't violently protest like that. Well, y'all shouldn't have marched on the Capitol like y'all did. Y'all shouldn't have. I'm like, I know some of the cops were butlers and let y'all in. Yeah, I mean, we know it was an inside job. They let y'all in. We seen the video. Here's the couch. Here's Nancy Pelosi's office. Here, take her laptop. Here, there's AOC right over there. You better catch her before she hides in a closet over there. I mean, it's just nuts. But yet, they turn a blind eye when we protest, and they claim we're the ones violently protesting. And when the cards were down and these so-called civilized folks, they ate their own in order to display their anger over an election that was, I said election, not Alexis. Come on. This is crazy. Anyway, so yeah, this has been just a weird year. This has been like an upside down, like mental conniption type of thing for those folks. I don't feel sorry for them. You know, just say no. That's what they said to us in the 80s. Anyway, so that just back, one last thing about Daunte Wright. Just again, I'm not thrilled that he took off. I understood, but even if he takes off, the police job is to serve and protect, even in apprehension. Tasering or shooting somebody should always be a last resort, because even criminals, even people who you're about to arrest, have rights. They have a right to live at the end of the day. You're not the judge. You're just the police. Remember that. And also remember that when, even if the perpetrator is black, because apparently with most, I just watched a video earlier where a white dude had his hand on a gun and they're pleading with him, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And at the end of the interaction, he drives off and they're just standing there looking dumb. Even the dog was chilling. And we already know there's an inside joke about some of these Dobermans and these canines being like racist. Yeah, I'm calling out some of these canine units because these canines, they're trained to go after black people. We already great grand. It's in the bloodline. That's just what it is. But anyway, all right. Noble's like them MAGA weirdos. Yeah, it's nothing but weirdos. And then it's like I've seen the cops shoot friends of mine for nothing. Yeah, if they can get away with it, the ones that the ones that do that, they can get away with it. They'll do it. That's awful. All right, so last thing we're going to talk about, and Bills, I'm glad you're here because I'm sure you being the artiste that you are as a musician, I'm sure that it matters. One, who makes the music, who directs it, produces it, that influences whether you want to listen or watch the media, the music, or whatnot. So we're going to focus on movies. So does the film director influence people's preferences and what movies they watch? I think this is a good question to run the rest of the show on, because I find myself getting excited for certain movies depending upon who makes it. It's just like with video games. I have this excitement for, I figure everyone has the excitement. If 2K was making a football game, everybody's gonna be like, throwing panties on the stage and whatnot over the fact that they're making a football game. When it comes to movies, and I had to write all these names down because I'm sure each director has pluses, minuses. Not gonna break them down or anything, but I just, as a reference, because I'm not good at remembering 20 million names, and I don't operate off a script. It's just the way I roll. But I know that who makes the movie definitely influences my choice of what movies. Like, okay, like we just had an example of the difference between two people's views of the Justice League. So we initially saw Joss Whedon's version of the Justice League. We saw how that played out. And we just recently saw Zack Snyder's version of Justice League play out. And clearly, Zack Snyder knows what the fuck he's doing. So, in that situation, if there was a versus between these two, because Joss Whedon came over from Marvel, and in the Marvel universe to me seems more comedic than serious, versus, DC was more in that serious nature, especially with at the time Christopher Nolan. And remember, Batman vs Superman was a combined effort between Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder. Them two, and for the people that didn't like Batman vs Superman, fuck you guys. That was a great movie. I don't care what y'all had to say. That was a great fucking movie. And you guys, I don't know. Yeah, y'all missed the point. And you definitely missed the point when all of a sudden Joss Whedon does Justice League and does all these silly things that these characters are not even known for. Batman's not known to crack jokes unless he's Adam West. I'm like, come on. Wonder Woman trapped underneath the Flash because he tripped and fell? What the fuck is that? Causes an awkward scene. Ah, boy. So I'm gonna just run some directors. Oh, you know what? Oh, okay, Pooh just brought this up and said probably. I mean, this was the case with Mandalorian. That is actually true. That is very true. And I did not list their name, but Dave Filoni and who the other guy was. If somebody can bring up the other guy's name, Favreau, Jon Favreau, it's Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Those two definitely made a difference in heightening my interest back into Star Wars, knowing the characters they were bringing back, the gold nuggets and the surprises they dropped during the second season of The Mandalorian. It was crazy. I know I probably like slurred through that whole Mandalorian is what I meant to say. But they heightened my interest into Star Wars because, man, that second sequel sucked. The sequel trilogy sucked. So I'm gonna just call him Mando. The character you can call Mando, but the show is called The Mandalorian. So calling it Mando doesn't do anything. Pooh, I don't know what you're thinking. But yeah, the sequel trilogy sucked, and it was unfortunate because Force Awakens was actually the best part of the sequel trilogy. J.J. Abrams had to come and play cleanup for The Rise of Skywalker because Rian Johnson screwed it up. In an article, he talked about he didn't care for the backstory of some of these characters that he was going to just toss away. Like he wasted Luke. I think they had to kill off Leia because she died in real life. She was going to make it to the end, but that changed. It was just crazy, some of the stuff that went on. And plus, some of the roles have changed, people's roles. And it's funny because I feel like Rian Johnson and Josh Whedon had the same thing against, people of color in the movies. Because all of a sudden, what's his face's character in The Force Awakens, who looked like he was set up to have this strong role, all of a sudden Rian Johnson gets a hold of it. All of a sudden he's some sidekick joke character that they teased as having a gay romance at one point, as far as rumors were concerned. But they stuck him with another side kind of joke character that was an Asian woman, which is, it's just like and then I don't. Justice League already went through a lawsuit as far as this was concerned, but you kind of see how filmmakers can influence how certain movies can go and how fans respond and give their feedback to these interpretations of their favorite franchises. Now, I'm going to rattle off some more names. So I talked about Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, Zack Snyder, Christopher Nolan. I talked about Rian Johnson, Joss Whedon or whatever. So other film directors that come to mind: John Singleton, Tyler Perry, Jordan Peele, Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, Quentin Tarantino, George Lucas, who originally did Star Wars, and I loved his work. I know people weren't fans of the original, the prequel trilogy, but after seeing the sequel trilogy, they had a whole new appreciation for George Lucas's work and understood why the prequels were the way they were. And Dave Filoni definitely saved the prequels with the Clone Wars and Rebels, and that final season, Clone Wars, is still boss to this day, still the GOAT. So that's it. Peter Jackson, Woody Allen, which I don't think anybody's looking for Woody Allen's work anymore. Marries his own daughter, adopted daughter, now his adopted wife, daughter. So when they have kids, what is it called? And that man is not in jail. That is crazy. So Stanley Kubrick, who I didn't even know had died back in '99. I did say Quentin Tarantino. He makes great movies. Kill Bill series, Django. All those are, good movies. Can't think of the other movie they did. The one, Samuel L. Jackson was in Django, but him and I see. This is what happens when I don't have stuff written down, like notes for. But at the same time, sometimes I don't know which way I'm gonna go. Sometimes I just go in a direction and it's a dead end, like remembering certain actors. But I forgot the name of that one movie. But anyway, I feel like that whoever makes the film definitely, like, if they have a history of filmmaking, they will have a big influence on how, whether a person would want to see that movie, the hype for it, expectations, all that. And then even in viewing the movie, understanding, okay, well, this film director likes to do stuff like I noticed that J.J. Abrams, what he likes to do in certain films, especially with chase scenes, he likes to do that whole, like, let the if there's like two ships chasing each other, to let one ship fly into the foreground and into the background, and then just do a quick zoom to the ship as it still speeds away. I actually like that, and I think Zack Snyder did something similar to that in his rendition of Justice League. I thought that was actually good. Zack Snyder does a lot of slow motion, and you got to see that. And if you haven't seen Zack Snyder's Justice League, I'm not going to be accused of giving away any spoilers, because that was back in March when it came out. And you haven't seen it yet. I know some people don't want to sit for 4 hours at a time and watch the movie, but it's worth it. But if you haven't seen it by now, tough, because if you think I'm spoiling it, you should have saw it by now. It's not my fault. I'm not responsible for your lack of effort to go and watch a great film, no matter how long it is. If you can't sit your happy ass down for about 4 hours and 2 minutes, take a break. I'm like, you're sitting at home. All you gotta do is watch 2 hours of the movie, take a break, and then watch 2 more hours of the movie. You're basically getting 2 movies, technically 3, but should have seen it by now. That's all I'm saying. But I like how he has these slow motion shots. It adds a dramatic effect. He does a lot of those. So, and I'm trying to figure out, when he did Batman vs Superman, there were a bunch of slowdowns in there too. Not as much as the Justice League, but there was a bunch of slowdowns there too. I like Christopher Nolan's rendition of Batman with Christian Bale, which Christian Bale was the Batman. I couldn't even remember his name 2 episodes ago. So yeah, I liked his rendition. The dark and brooding nature of Batman was shown in Christopher Nolan's Batman and also Zack Snyder's Batman. I wish Batman and Ben Affleck had their own version, in which Ben Affleck should be up here as a filmmaker, because he did a lot of the filmmaking even early in his career. Dogma was actually a good one. I don't know if he did that one, but it was him, Chris Rock, Matt Damon. I'm trying to figure out who else was in it. Selma Hayek, I think, was in it. She's pretty hot. She still is hot. But yeah. So I think in the end, and Antonio says he has a question. All right. So what's your question? Why are you here? Bill's was like, motherfuckers watching movies in shifts. Well, if a movie's that long, it's going to be like that. I'm like, I understand that with people's attention spans, this society now can't stand a movie that lasts longer than an hour. They feel like they have to do something else. Okay, so Antonio's question is, would you consider getting an S or no? I talked to VF because he just got an S. So he has a Series S. I've considered it. So the consideration, yes. But I feel like I wouldn't be happy with that decision to get an S. it doesn't fit. Like, I know the consolation is, oh, you can use it as a Game Pass box. I have a Game Pass box. It's called my PC. Skynet over here wouldn't appreciate this little ass Series S sitting over here being used as the Game Pass box when I have a Game Pass box that can get EA Play Pro. I can get more from my PC than I would from that Series X. I would just feed that Series S to my PC right now. That's what would happen. So Bills is like, I did watch The Irishman. I want to watch the movie in one sitting. Stopping and starting just breaks the continuity. I do find that to be very true. There are a lot of movies that, like, if they're long, and we're talking about, for me, I grew up watching 2 hour, maybe a little bit longer type movies. I have the attention span for those movies. Most people in society don't these days. But for movies longer than that, like, I have the extended versions of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. And I'm trying to get the extended versions of the Hobbits, because I want everything to be fleshed out in these epic tales. So I probably will get up and take a break, but I will probably catch in a part that I feel like, okay, I feel like this is filler. I got the gist of the story. I've seen Lord of the Rings a million times, whether it was the extended version or the regular version. So I can sit and not miss a beat. But others that I haven't seen before, I would more than likely want to watch all the way through. Like, I just got finished watching Disenchantment, and that, I don't know if it's called Disenchantment or Disenchanted, but I just finished season 3. So, okay. Bills also says, for me, it's the time of day I watch it. It ends up being more fatigue than attention span, which is true. I'm like, I do experience fatigue when I'm watching something. If talking about video games, The Last of Us 2 is very fatiguing. That game seemed to go. I'm like, I beat the game. I beat it before VF, which was kind of funny because he was actually ahead of me. I kept pressing on when he dropped the game initially. He wound up beating the game eventually, but he dropped it before, and because it was just fatiguing to him. It was fatiguing to me, and it was fatiguing to a lot of gamers out there. It just went on and on. It was like day 1, day 2, day 3. Oh, let's do these days over again, this time from Abby's perspective, which is a nice twist. But these Last of Us was meant to be a long, drawn out, like, level by level game. But when you do that, when you double it, and yeah, it's just a lot going on. And then the ending kind of like, it teases you that the game's about to end, but we're going to just draw out this part of the story before we allow you to go and play another game. And to tell you the truth, I felt like they did that because they didn't have a multiplayer. I bet you if they had a multiplayer attached to it, factions, then that story wouldn't have been that long. Those missions would have been cut down easily. They did this as a standalone, and they drug it out because they didn't have a multiplayer. So hopefully they have a multiplayer soon, because these folks are pissed that there's no multiplayer. So, oh boy, so we definitely ran through the gambit of, we got through all our topics for tonight, and actually had a good audience. I definitely do appreciate the audience members that were here. Just go through Bills, Antonio, Spec, Young Noble. Try to keep. I know Subliminary was here earlier. Go back, Subliminary. Even Boss Man. I don't know who you are, but thanks for showing up. This is the first time I've seen you. Sorry about the initial reaction to your comment, but I definitely understood why you were asking. See who else. State of the Franchise Sports chimed in earlier. I know VF had to been watching because I saw him tweet earlier. So, and then Sweet Jones was one of the first people to chat in. So thank you guys for definitely coming through tonight. I think this was a good episode. I definitely like the fact that now this show is available on Spotify. So that's one of the things, the advantages of having a show like this on Spotify. And you probably notice certain changes, certain subtle changes to, how I'm talking, and I'm trying to be more descriptive because now I have to account for the fact that this is just going to be audio only on those platforms between Spotify and SoundCloud. So I definitely appreciate everybody coming through. We are definitely going to wrap it up. And anybody got any questions? Because as always, there's always Q&A. So if anybody has any random questions, if you want to chit chat for a little bit, feel free to chime on in. Always welcome to answer any questions. I don't think I have a line when it comes to how personal. Well, there is a line how personal, but just I am a variety show, so ask away, and I'll probably give you guys a few minutes if anybody has to think about questions. Anybody has to, just ew. Okay, so first question comes from Antonio Wilson. Have you played NHL 21 recently? Yes, I have. And Bills, listen up. I knocked out Boston 4-1, but proceeded to lose the first game against the Islanders because they knocked out the Penguins 4-1 in their series. So I'm playing the Islanders in the second round of playoffs. I lost the first game in double overtime. I was pissed because Backstrom had the puck along the boards behind my own goaltender, and he proceeds to lose it. And they acquired a puck, tic-tac-toe passing, one-timer, pass Samsonov, and game over. They wound up winning, I think, 3-2, or was it 3-2? Yeah, 3-2, because I was up 2-0 for most of the game. They scored 3 unanswered goals to eventually win the game. And I had my opportunities in that game to end it. Various one-timers and such. So it was just funny how that happened. So okay. Bill's question is, y'all miss me? Nah, nigga, nobody misses you. Get out of here. We do. But anyway, Young Nobles, who got blasted last night on the podcast? I missed it. No, because Subliminary and VF took their combined L's. I gave them both L's for what took place. And it was really funny. And then I gave VF an L because he tried to turn around and do the same shit that he almost got caught up, that he got caught up in, that he originally avoided the first time it was brought up. It was basically, okay, VF's L's came from the fact that he, well, who was it? Was it Subliminary? Yeah, Subliminary had said something in the chat. He needs to use spell check. So that Subliminary's issue L's came from the fact that he needs to use spell check. VF's L's came because, and I set his ass up, I told him to read Subliminary's. I told him to read Subliminary's first message, first question, or first whatever. And he looked at it, he was like, yeah, I'm not going to say that. And he avoided it. But then moments later, like a boomerang, he ran right into it. I was just like, wow, that's how it works. You know, if you miss him the first time, you'll get him the second time. Like a boomerang, just throw that. I threw it at him, and then he ducked it the first time, but it hit him in the back of the head. So, yeah, so that was VF's L. And then this dude tried to do that to me because I said, what was it? I was assistant manager for Blockbuster, so I was deep in it. And it was funny because he sat there, he was like he started this, but then something went off in his head. You can tell if you watch, look at his eyes, it lit up like he could get rid. He was like, I got him now. Like he had that look at his face, like he was real happy. He thought he had me, and I saw his whole reaction, so I knew it was coming. And he was like, "You deep in what? You deep in what?" I'm sitting there munching on popcorn like no VFL for trying to get me on shit that I saw coming a mile away from you. I watched your face light up like, "Oh, I got this nigga this time." No, you don't. So he got a second L just for that. And then there was another L he refused to take. But Subliminary wrote something else that he could have used spell check on. And yeah, Subliminary, you know about your L's. So and VF, if you're watching, you definitely know about your L's too. So and I handed him all out gracefully and calmly, as I always tend to do. So, oh boy, I always be escaping these L's. I'm like if there was a tally of L's between all three of us that did first and frameways, I would have the lowest amount. Myself and Bills would have the lowest amount. I'm gonna just make that clear. So, Bills is where I'm at. Like we rarely take L's. It's just the way it is. It's just we're aware of what's going on. Not saying that VF is not aware, but he goofily, and I'm making up a word. Yes, I am. Goofily takes L's. So it's at the end of the day, it's all love. It's all jokes. It's all shenanigans and stuff like that when people taking L's. But yeah, folks taking L's left and right. And me and Bills are like the best at being able to avoid L's. It's just we're built for this shit. That's just the way it is. I don't know how many times I gotta say it, but I'm gonna wrap it up right here before I get myself in trouble. But again, yeah, the SpongeBob segment. Y'all go back and watch that episode. You know who exploded over SpongeBob, and the result was, yeah. So y'all know what's going on there. It was a funny episode with that SpongeBob because we're sitting there looking at him like, what? I'm like, we understand. Like, look, as far as man concerned, everybody understands the anger and frustration that results from this game when they do stupid shit. This SpongeBob was some stupid shit, but it wasn't that bad. So we're just gonna wrap it up right here. And again, thank you. I can't thank you guys enough for coming through. A lot of people showed up. A lot of people participated, and it's all good. And for Sweet Jones talking about take this weak ass hat off, this hat will stay until there's another 162 game World Series champion. Because even though I would acknowledge the Dodgers as the World Series champions, and I hope OG is watching, you are nothing but a bubble champion. You may have swept us in a regular season series. Hopefully you guys are able to last 162 games, make it to the World Series, and win it. You haven't done that since '88. You played 60 games last year in a bubble, an expanded playoff format, which I give you guys credit. You made it do that. But it was 60 games. We basically just phoned it in. So as far as I'm concerned, and purists are concerned, the Washington Nationals are your defending champs even this year. That's all I got to say about that. So let's see. Oh, Bills, did you have a question? You said real fucking quick. If you do have a question, please get it out there. If not, for the umpteenth time, I'm going to head out. So give you a few moments. Trying to figure out what's going on here. Oh, no, no, no. That wasn't a question. Okay, now I had to read the previous chat. So he was just adding on to, this one. It was like it went from play calling sheets to cleats real fucking quick. Okay, that's okay. Those were two combined. So I get it. All right. All right. Well, with that being said, about to head out of here again. I got it. Bills. I got it. I know this tends to run on a delay, so I got it. Thank you, though. So again, appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure you tune in again next week for episode 24. I'll be on here multi-streaming on Twitch and YouTube. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just like I did tonight. Look out for this episode to go live on SoundCloud and Spotify. Hopefully sometime, probably by sometime tomorrow. If the way it works, once I upload it to SoundCloud, it should appear on Spotify maybe some hours later. And it was funny, the Spotify thing, even though initially it was a frustrating process, I had to actually, sacrifice some money to make sure that, SoundCloud was the carriage that transported me to Spotify. So with that being said, make sure you guys check those out, whether it's on SoundCloud, whether it's on Spotify. I'm not looking to go on any other platform. I think I'm happy with just those two. I think those would be good. So you guys be safe. Don't do anything illegal anymore. Noble. And guys, have a good day. Oh, and by the way, go Nats. We did win today. I don't know if there are any other games by any local teams, but yeah, you guys have a good night. Peace.